What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to episode 16 of the Sunday Sessions podcast, the best podcast ever. Better than Impulsive, better than TMG, best ever.
Joe Rogan?
No, probably not. But yeah, this is a podcast where we help you cure those Sunday blues. Because you probably made some pretty decisions on the weekend, Ben, looking at you. Yeah, probably. Well, so did I. So we're going to help you get through these things, these scaries together. I'm one half of your co-hosts, Liam. I make very bad vids. And what's that look for, Zach? Sorry. Because don't worry. I make bad vids. Sorry, Zach, having to edit that out. And I have even worse mates. I'm so used to saying one thing, I can't just now swap because of YouTube 30-second not swearing in the start. Just bleep them.
Yeah. Anyway, that was horrible. But
Sorry, that was a bit of a
I'm the other host here, and I've got today's beer review. So make sure you as well. Make sure you stick around because it's a good one.
Shit, fuck. Keep those in. Well, me and Ben aren't alone today, are we?
No, we're not.
We're joined by two very, very special guests. I think guest number 4 and 5, technically,
Mustn't
on the
special.
show. The Misfit Minds boys. You might know them from their pranks, or you could be friends with them. Who knows? You might know them in real life. But yeah, welcome, boys. Thanks for coming on the show.
Cheers for having us.
Yeah, how you feeling? How you doing today?
Let's get this shit over with.
Yeah, well, I
Good.
guess first of all, we need to address the lack of elephant in the room. Sorry.
Oh, Jesus, that just hit me.
You're a man down today.
Oh. Fuck.
No.
Seb's just gone.
Seb was like, look, he's
I was
like,
looking
what
for
the
something
fuck?
like, is there an elephant?
No. Well, there is a third member of the Misfit Minds universe. Only 3? Just you 3 boys?
Yeah.
Yep.
And that is Nick, everyone's favourite, Chalky Dan. We couldn't have him on, sorry, everyone who's a big fan of him, because we only have 4 mics in the studio. So, yeah, you're going to have to just settle for the 2 OGs.
In the future, we'll have to get him back.
Yeah.
Oh, get him
I
on,
reckon
yeah.
he has his
Get
own
him on.
episode. 'cause
Yeah,
he's
he
a
writes his own content. that guy.
ex-DJ.
He's
Did,
he's
festivals.
lived a life and a half.
Yeah,
And-
when I told Liam that, I was like, oh, I used to DJ like festivals and shit. And then
Oh, me
I was
and
like-
everyone ripped
Liam's
Ben.
like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, just took the piss out of me fucking, oh, he's a DJ, is he, Ben? He's
No,
a DJ. And I was like,
he was-
no, he is. And then he convinced me that you guys were taking the piss out
I
of
was like,
me.
Ben, that obviously taking the piss. And then he's like, oh, yeah, that's
Wait,
probably
did
true.
you guys see it? When it was like Dyson was having like the drinks at his house, he said like something happened with the decks, and you can see Nick in the corner just
Yeah.
like going like, what are they doing? Like, and
No,
shit, like,
because he came up to help me and he couldn't figure it out. And then
No,
that's
no,
why
no,
I was
no,
like,
no,
he
that's
did
not what
eventually.
happened.
No,
That's
it
not-
is.
You
Because
were
I
on.
asked him about this after. I was like,
shut up. You were on.
No, I know.
And I was like, let Nick go. Because he's an old DJ. And you're like, no, I'm doing it. And you just wouldn't let him
no,
on the whole night.
I said, can you help? And he said, yeah. And then he couldn't
Sure
figure it
he
out.
did.
And I asked him later, I was like, oh, did you just do that because you wanted to like send me off your trail? And then he's like, no, I actually didn't know it was wrong because it was such a like dumb, obvious thing. I was like, yeah, well, there you go. So don't fucking start yapping,
righto,
Ben.
Muscles.
He's done like Splendor, Listen Out.
Yeah.
That's
He's done all
so
of them.
fucked.
Dude, he was telling me like he was sleeping with not sleeping with, what the fuck. He was like when it was like Listen Out, he was like hanging out with like the Brockhampton guys, and like
Oh,
I've grown up
what?
like going like holy shit, and then he's like, oh, Joba, like I used to just smoke a pack of fucking Marlboros with him each day like on the set, and I was just like, what, bro? And
Yeah.
on his
He's
phone
lived
he's
a
got like
life.
Skrillex and shit, and you're like, what, bro? Like,
He needs his own episode.
Yeah.
dude, he needs
Actually,
his
can you
own
guys
fucking
go?
reality TV
Is he
show.
here? Can you send him in and get
Should we
out?
just swap?
Yeah, I reckon they hyped it up.
Bro, you should have seen he was like a puppy at the door when we were driving off from the house. He's just fucking doing the Hitler, just doing the Hitler salute to us, just waving, and we're just like, go inside.
What do you reckon he's doing with the house to himself?
Probably jacking off. Nah, probably
Using one of the 5,000 pocket pussies that are at the house.
he's probably watching some sort of YouTube tutorial, and then he's gonna tell us he's done a full course about it when we get home, and we go, oh yeah, when? He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, just for anyone who is unaware of you guys, these 2 fellas, lovely lads, are big Australian YouTubers. My personal second favourite after myself, because I'm a narcissist. But yeah, so what, like, because I found you guys initially, and I think a lot of people listening are probably the same, with like the start, what I believe is the start of your careers, but could have gone further back, was the sneaking into the grand final video. And you're all over the news and shit like that. And I remember initially seeing you guys, and I was like, oh, that's pretty funny, but they'll probably never do anything after that. Like, I was like, oh, it's probably just going to end there. But were you doing YouTube before that, or is that kind of what started it? Was that idea what started the whole channel?
Nah, we were doing TikToks, but they were cringe.
Well, we're doing
Like,
skits, and then we
real
said, fuck,
cringe.
there's enough shit guys in this country doing skits,
Yeah,
so let's not
yeah.
do it. Like, no.
And we always had the plan to move over to YouTube. We were just like getting comfortable in front of the camera, which was like kind of easier on a TikTok and stuff. And then I think the grand final video was like the 4th YouTube video we posted.
Probably, like, definitely the best one in terms of we just made a lot of shit before that.
Yeah.
Was that just because it was COVID that year, so it was played in Perth for the first time ever, and you're like, fuck, there's an opportunity?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the sneaking vids were like popping on YouTube at the time.
Yeah.
It was
We'll
before
give it a
you-
go.
It was also, yeah, but like, I remember, Seb's definitely more ballsy than me. And like, I'm just like, just was like, in my head, I was like, I couldn't think of anything worse, like sneaking into a place and just like, especially when it's like pretty heavily, like with security and that. So, like, it was about an hour and like 15 minutes before the game started. And Seb was like, bro, we just got to do it. And we're just sitting in like his office, like editing a video. And I was just like, fuck, fine. So we drove to Kmart, got some high vis, and then just literally went straight there. And then we're like, fuck me. Like, we were just...
There's so many cops.
Was it like, did you plan? So obviously, like, you thought of it on the day, or you agreed to do it on the day. Did you have like a plan, or you just like, we'll get there and we'll just off the cuff, we'll just figure something out when you're there?
The plan was to like just stand closely behind someone, and you know when there's like a rush of people going
Yeah.
into the footy, just kind of like hop over the fence and hope that no one sees you. But we got there so late that like nobody was going into the game anymore, so like it was impossible to do that. So then we had some wristbands, and we'll just try to walk in a tradie outfit, and it worked.
But like, we changed our name, our mate's name on the phone. We're like, dude, if we call you, like, you're going to be our boss from Gage Roads, like the beer company. Like, you're going to be our
Damn.
boss.
That's
We
And
had
then-
a full plan.
So changed it to Blake Management. And then before we even got there, we said, hey, mate, can we use the lift? Yeah, right through.
Yeah.
And then pretty sure, like,
And we
oh,
were
this is
trying to
good.
like, we had like this just full script. We were going to go like, this is our boss, like all this shit, like ready to say. And he's like, get in, like, I don't,
Just
he
go
just didn't
in.
give a fuck.
But yeah, that's where it started. And then I feel like that's like the most important bit. If you have like a video that gets a bit of traction, like the people that stop after it's just where like your channel won't do any well. So we just kind of just kept making videos, and we're doing like this creator course like with this YouTuber called Airac.
Oh, yeah.
And he had like this thing where like you post a video 6 weeks in a row, and then they review the video, and like you have like Hayden Hillier Smith, like Logan Paul's like editor, like he'll review your video if it's like good enough. And then so like that was hell good, just learning kind of
Oh,
at the
fuck, I
start
didn't know
about
that.
stuff. Yeah, so we did that. So that kind of like also made us go, all right, well, we got to keep this traction going. So we posted the next like 5 weeks. So it just kind of really did well for the channel. But
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like everyone always gets like that one video and then kind of is like, oh, I don't really need to bother anymore, or just doesn't. Like there was this kid in Albury where I'm from. Can't remember his name, but he posted it. Is that heater on? Sorry, Zach. Can you turn it off if it is? Thanks. That's fucking me.
Yeah.
was that on?
Yeah. Sorry, this kid in Albury, he had like he made a TikTok, one video on his whole account, and it was him like shaking up this thing, and you know that thing that's like, da 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 da.
Oh,
And he like made the original video for that, and like threw this bottle and it like hit the ground and sprayed away. I can't remember how many views it got, but this was like 2019. And it went super viral, and he had like 170,000 followers with no other videos, and then never posted ever again. I was like, mate, you should have just done something.
yeah.
Could have got a brand deal or
Got
something.
to keep
from that.
going. Even like some people who will sneak into different events and that, and then like they get done by like the authorities and that. But
Which inevitably happened to you guys, didn't it?
well, it did, but
Because of the news?
Well,
Yeah.
it was because of the news, and like, but because we just said, hey, can we use the lift? If they said no, then like we wouldn't have gone in. But because we didn't say we were from anywhere, because we didn't actually get to that point, and also they're letting you use something, like they actually let you in, so we actually didn't get criminally charged or anything. We got like a 7-year ban from the AFL, but like apart from that,
Like, just goes to show the security in Australia compared
Yeah.
to like America. or
Well, the
something.
cops were trying to say like, oh, what if you were a terrorist and stuff, like.
you could have had a
saying-
bomb strapped
And
to
it was
you.
They
kind
come
of
to
like
your house, the
exactly
cops?
like, what if
Yeah.
we were? No, they called us and said, if you don't come to the station, we'll come to your house.
But it was like, as we were like, it'd been like we'd done like all these interviews, and it was we're filming our other video, and then we were like eating Maccas for a week. It was the horrible video after a pretty bad backup video.
Eating Mac is every
follow-up.
meal for like supersize me.
Yeah, for like we ate for 7 days. We just ate at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Nothing else. It was literally one of the worst weeks of my life. But like fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. The people, I've totally forgot.
With getting
You're
like
in Macca's
no, with
and
getting
the cops.
Consistent.
Oh, fuck,
Fruit
I don't
Loops
know.
school toilets.
Dude,
Shouldn't
so
have got, you shouldn't have got drunk before this podcast.
no, I gotta stop smoking bongs to be honest.
No, yeah, the repercussions with like.
Oh
the,
yeah.
Well, the latest guy that did
That's
it,
right,
Michael Todoro, he posted a thing getting into the UFC. He's getting charged with fraud.
What?
Yeah.
Because he
But
changed his
fraud.
name or something, or like.
He had like a fake.
He
employee
ironed on the
thing.
UFC badge on his arm. But that's like, oh, I actually remember what I was going to say. But we got there and said, we're like, how have we not been like done? And we had like an
For
interview.
murder,
Yeah, basically, yeah, for terrorism, like, you know, and like, we had an interview with Sunrise the next day, and we're like, oh, this couldn't get any better, and that, and then we're literally in the car, and Seb goes, bro, we've literally like just fucked the system, like we've just avoided it, and then as he's saying it, he gets a no caller ID, and it's the cops, and they're like, if you don't come in the next like 24 hours, we're gonna come to your house and arrest you.
So you didn't do Sunrise?
No,
No,
we
we
did,
did.
but man,
Did you
we were
meet
fucking
Koshi?
shitting ourselves. Yeah,
Yeah.
met Koshi. Yeah,
So that's what making it is for those listeners. It's meeting David Kosh, who you can't meet anymore because he's done.
yeah, he's retired.
Yeah, well, I think that was like the first video of yours that I saw, and then I kind of just completely forgot about you guys. And then
Thanks.
because you're both shit cunts.
No, thank you. Yeah.
But the video that I remember seeing that made me really invested in you guys, and I remember I put like heaps of my friends onto your stuff earlier, was the taking a homeless dude skydiving. I thought that,
yeah.
and I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like that did bad on your YouTube, like view wise.
Horrible.
But
It's our worst performing video.
yeah, and I think that's the best video or one of the best videos that you've made.
It's our
Probably
least viewed video ever.
But one of our
even
favourites,
compared to all the first ones we post, that video has the
Yeah.
least views out of all of them.
I think the
Which is
dude's reaction is what made it so like.
It's such
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
idea, like, and
Yeah.
like watching it was fucking like
It's
so
cool.
wholesome.
Where'd you get the idea for that?
Fuck, man, it's been done before
Probably
for sure.
no,
Hadn't
not
it?
a homeless guy. Probably Yes Theory. I used to watch a lot of that
Oh,
shit.
that's
yeah.
a good channel.
But like, yeah, that video getting like the least views was just crazy to us. We thought it was going to blow for sure.
I feel like that's like pretty common though. Is the videos that I post most of the time where I'm like, oh fuck, this is gonna blow up and get 100 million
Yeah.
views, gets like fuck all, and then the videos that I'm like, I don't even really think I should post this,
No
blow up.
shit.
Like my most viewed video online ever was that waking up for school in America versus Australia, and I wasn't gonna post that, and then I just did, and it's my.
It's always
most
the
video.
case. Like, you're always kind of like second guessing yourself with a video, and you're like, I don't think it's good enough. And then people come out and go, oh, it's your best vid. And you're like, what? Like, how?
Yeah.
But, no,
Do you
for
guys
sure.
are you guys still in contact with that dude,
Dion?
the homeless dude,
Well, we gave him a phone, but then he said he lost it. But he probably sold it, which is
to go
understandable.
skydiving again?
Yeah, sure, yeah. He's been gone on heaps of adventures and that. But like, whenever we go back to Perth, we'll just, because he's told us like what his route is. Like, he goes like throughout the city, like different routes on his way to go for a swim.
A swim.
Yeah, he goes for a swim in the lake
Mm.
and just like cleans his clothes, dries it and that.
Good on
But
him.
whenever we go back to Perth, we'll go see him and that. And like, he's just so nonchalant.
Yeah.
Just like, hey Dion, hey, turns around.
He just doesn't give a fuck, hey. He's
Did
so
that-
content with his life.
He's what?
Super content
Yeah.
with his
Oh,
life.
we said
I-
that. We're like, do you want to kind of, because his family and that live in like Tassie, and we
Yeah.
said, oh, we'll pay for your flights to go back to Tassie if you want to see your family. And he was just like, he's like, man, I'm kind of just content with my life, you know. Like,
I reckon it's sick though that you did that for him, because like you can tell that that meant more to him than giving him like how much does skydiving cost? I haven't done it. Like
$400-500.
yeah, so it's like you could have just given him that money, but like you've given him something that he'd be thinking about that like every day, I reckon.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the chick
sure.
that when we were doing the skydiving, there was like the admin for the place where you jump, was kind of like, oh, why didn't you just give him money? Like kind of chirping
why
us.
don't you
And it
just
was
buy
like,
oh,
food or
what?
some shit?
Yeah.
Because everyone else does it. Like, it's kind of
Yeah.
like pay for the experiences, not just like, you know what I mean? Like, give them an experience that they're not going to probably be able to do.
Yeah, and skydive
Yeah.
like if he had like I feel like if he had $500 or even like $1,000 or whatever, skydiving's probably down there in the like last things he'd ever do if he got
oh,
that
for
much
sure.
money.
he wouldn't have even thought it to do it.
Yeah.
Because you can't.
But yeah, I think because were you guys making much money at that point? Because that taking all three of you skydiving is fucking. I wouldn't spend that much on a video now.
I mean, like, we've always just had like the attitude that whatever money we make, like, we've never pocketed any of the money we've made off YouTube. So like, it's kind of like just reinvest in the channel and hopefully it pays dividends like in the future.
Even today, we still haven't like pocketed any of the money. Or it's just-
But yeah, it cost a fair bit. I mean, like, what do we probably did spend like $3,000 on that, because I think we gave him a couple $100 after, like, and then we driving, like fuel and everything, because it was like a few hours away. But like it's totally worth it. I mean, that was definitely, like, to date, that's probably still one of my favorite videos ever. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I was lucky that the video did so well.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Made all the
Probably
money.
made like
It
80
makes
bucks
it
off
not. It makes you not want to put all your money back into the channel, but like, no, it's for
That's
sure.
a good mindset to have. When meeting you guys, one thing, I think Liam can agree to this, and Zach, is that we all noticed your work ethic. Work ethic
Thank you.
straight away. It was like when we walked in,
Yeah.
all your ideas written down on the board, and just like you were so planned out and like consistent with what you were doing. You knew what you were doing. I was like, fuck, these guys are gonna.
Yeah, I've
They
met a
mean business.
fuck ton of creators doing this, and you guys definitely stood out as like people that like I'd never had, even like in LA and stuff when I was hanging out with people, I've never had someone like me invite them to do something or like say, oh, come to this thing, it'll be fun, and then be like, oh, we can't, we're editing. And you guys,
Yeah.
I feel like actually put that like your content and business first, which has like motivated me a lot in what like especially recently. I don't think I would have done the whole Dry July 30 days sober thing and like focus so heavily on what I was doing if I didn't meet you guys and see how like committed you are, especially even with like putting money back into the business, because I know that's something with like I'm always like hate spending money on.
Yeah,
fucking
for
things
sure.
It
that
always
shit
comes
spend
back.
It does, yeah.
See, like even that the skydiving video is a good example. For the first year, it didn't get a single, like we didn't make a single cent from it. But then it was over a year, like a year and a half later, we get a message from U2 who saw the TikTok.
U2 the band?
The band.
What?
Yeah, who saw the TikTok.
Wait, are you actually serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
dead
my
serious, yeah.
god.
And like, that video to us had just been like a complete, like, you know, we got nothing back from it. It didn't even get a single view.
Well, because we used their song "Beautiful Day."
Oh,
We used their song in a TikTok, and then they messaged us and actually paid us to go do it again with another
'Cause
guy.
we did it second time, and yeah, they paid us to be like the video clip to the song that they were re-releasing.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
I have something similar that happened to me in that sense, and no, I'm actually serious. And it's I'd say probably a little bit better than that, but it's up for debate. I once used a I think I had a brand deal or something, and it was like how I think it was for the Oodie, and it was my video idea was like how girls convince each other to go clubbing. And at the end of the video, like one of the girls puts on Untouched by the Veronicas. And then the Veronicas messaged me and said they loved the vid. And then I was like, oh, I love you guys. So, and they called me like babes or something. So, I mean, YouTube's
Huge.
cool, but
Well, we didn't
I got
actually
the
get a
fucking
personalized message from Bono or some shit, so that's a lot better than us, to be
yeah.
honest.
So, Veronicas, yeah, Untouched. Saw him at BTV and they messaged me. So. Yeah, well, we have a segment, our first segment of the show today.
What is it?
Do you want to know?
Yeah.
I'll tell you. It's rave review. I don't know how
Oh,
much you
yeah.
guys have seen from our show, but we do this segment called rave review. And for those who don't know what that is, Ben, can you explain?
It's where we review a rave, and that's it.
And
No.
pretty much what we do is one of us will go to a rave that can be a game of bowling where you're drinking beers.
Yep.
Your cousin's 15th birthday. Your high school formal, anything. If there's beers there, you're there, it counts as a rave, and we just go and document our experience and come back. We've done pitch. We've done one that you guys featured in, but that we talked about, the Emerson with Dyson.
Oh, yeah.
Everything,
for sure.
everything counts. And we both are doing Dry July, so we have nothing to report, but we wanted to extend the question to you guys, because Chad's done it. Have any of our other guests done it? Dyson did it.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything recently where you went and drank and you have a notable experience that
Or
you want to
just
talk
like-
about?
Well,
Your best party that you've been to?
Anything.
dude, we don't go out.
Yeah,
Like,
we actually don't.
We don't actually don't go out.
So you
I
think
mean-
you're better than us?
The 2 times we went out was with you.
Yeah, that was literally,
Fuck.
and
You're a
literally
terrible
spent the whole bank
influence.
account, so that was fucking ridiculous. I remember just going the next day, like, should we go out? No, I remember just going, I'm not going out for another 2 years. Like, that's fine. I'm trying to think.
There's no pressure. If you don't have one, then we'll skip
Dude, it was
But
probably
doesn't matter.
We'll
the
just
last
judge
one I
you
can
for the rest
remember
of
was
our
probably the
lives.
Emerson, to be honest. Like when that was like that was pretty fucking funny.
Do you have any upcoming things planned?
Well, we did, but like you guys fucking were doing this Dry July shit, so we couldn't
yeah.
organise it, could we? So
We've got, this is a literal quote from producer Zach, who wrote point number 8 in our itinerary. Were you always relatively mischievous little cunts?
Yeah.
That's what he just...
does he write your shit?
Oh, he's written that.
No.
I used to fuck around all the time, especially in school.
Yeah, school was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So is that where it started? You guys just playing
I mean-
pranks on teachers and people?
Yeah, like we've always said if TikTok was fucking around, like in terms of like people were actually using it heaps in high school, like dude, our channel would have millions of views because the
Yeah.
shit that was having like we'd have like this thing called Bert, where at one of our mates Reese, we called it Beat Up Reese Thursdays, like where we drag him down to the oval and just bash the shit out of him and like take his clothes off and like he's full butt naked on the like.
Then it
like,
turned to
just,
beat up
I'm
Race
sure you can
Tuesdays
say
as well.
like we did like run the gauntlet, like
All these stories of like just bullying.
yeah, it's pretty bad. Like just like real pretty.
When I was like 14, 15, I worked at Hungry Jack's and they didn't give me my money back from like the uniform when I got fired. So I went in there like a year later and like put the uniform on and made myself from free food and then gapped it. And there's a video as well. And I'm literally like 15. Like I look so young.
Just
fake
walk, you see
employee
him walk
prank.
in, he's just smiling, like filling his coke up and like chips and everything, then walks out. Like, but like I mean, like we're kind of always, we just mucked around. I suppose we were just like, you know, having fun. And like the teachers hated us, like just absolutely hated us. Like there was one point where we spent like 6 weeks, like lunch and like recess and lunch every single day in a classroom because we were like benched. Like, so we actually didn't leave a classroom for like 6 weeks straight.
Did you ever get suspended?
Yeah,
Seb did, yeah.
twice. But it was just for like a little build up of things. They called it like mob mentality.
Oh, mate, I got
was
su-
a fucking
I got
phrase
a
of the year at our
yeah,
school.
yeah, same. I got a suspension. We weren't allowed to walk in groups. We had this big like long strip down the middle of our school called School Street, and you'd like walk down it and like pass on things. And they made a rule at our year because we were all friends, so it was like a big year level, and everyone was kind of mates. That you couldn't walk in a big group, so we had to break off into smaller groups because it was too intimidating for the younger kids. It was mob mentality.
We had the exact same thing.
Yeah.
We all had to sit in groups of 4 that they just picked, like scattered around the
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, I got suspended. I got an in-school suspension once, which is just like, this is what it was. They're like, all right, you have an in-school suspension, and all it was me and all my mates in one big classroom all day for like 4 days. And I was like, how is this a fucking punishment? We had to do worksheets that were piss easy about what we're going to improve about our behavior, and everyone would just be like, nothing. But like, it was because we were in this group chat where they had this like group chat on Facebook, and this little kid in like a couple years younger had like made comments about, this was in year 10, like one of our mates died in our year, and he made like comments about it, and then everyone made a group chat with just him in it, was saying they're going to bash him and shit. And then I think I replied like haha or something like that. I didn't even really look at it because I wasn't like on my phone. And then the next day that like his mum complained, and like everyone who messaged in the group got an in-school suspension, and I got done for fucking haha. So I'm a seasoned criminal.
Yeah. No, for sure. We had like, there was another one where we had like, whenever we'd have relief teachers, like it was kind of just every man for themselves, like in terms of just do whatever you want. And we had like this class, society environment. And we had this like teacher, and she was like the best teacher. Just let us do everything. So like, she's like, "What do you guys want to do?" And we're like, "Oh, no cahoots."
Oh yeah,
Dude,
course.
so like we're just putting like gay porn cahoots on, and like the class is just guessing stuff about gay porn and everything. And then you got like kids in the corner like throwing bags of chips up into the like fan and shit, and it's exploding. I'm talking like just fucking think of a fucking cloud of cheesel dust, bro. And like the class is just, and the teacher's gone like, chill out, and like kids are like fucking chucking cucumbers in a water bottle, like throwing shit everywhere, and it was just like out of control. And like I've never seen a relief teacher again.
We do fart bombs. You get
Oh,
it?
I got it.
Huge.
Sorry.
We do fart bombs, and then when we were like getting told off for doing the fart bombs, we'd let off fart bombs in those like while we were getting told off, and they never knew who it was, but they were like, "We know it's one of you," and we're like, "You don't know it's one of us."
Did
and
you
then
ever
we let
like
it off.
own up or like get found out in some of your pranks?
The fucked up one was we had a formal on a boat, like a river
that's
cruise, and on the river cruise we literally brought like probably 30 fart bombs, and like literally like nuked the fuck out of this boat where people were like heads over the thing going, "This is fucked." So then the teachers are going like, "Who's doing this? Like, stop!" And they've got everyone to the front of the boat, and they're like, "Who's doing this?" And they're just next minute you just hear like and it's just 4 more just blown up.
I
bro.
mean, talking like they grabbed a kid.
And everyone just like evacuates.
Just
the
evacuate. So
yeah.
kids are like trying to jump overboard and that, and like then you're walking off the bus and like you've just got blokes that's just strapped with fart bombs around their thing, and they're like
Throwing them
trying
overboard.
to see, like getting rid of it and shit. But yeah, I mean,
Jeez. So
the
your
teachers
school was
are-
just fucked.
Yeah,
yeah,
we
it
used to
was-
do shit all the time.
it was pretty bad.
So was it just you two, or did you have
Nah,
mates?
we
Oh,
had
dude,
a
there was like
group.
there was like 30,
So you
35
just
of us.
plan event. You just be like, we're gonna fuck up.
We had
the
the, yeah, we
floor.
were called the bench. Like, so it's just this long bench where just 30 blokes would just sit across it, and like it was just like, yeah, some fucked up shit probably happened. Like,
One of my personal favorites was and if you're a kid still at school, I want to see a kid do this. If you're a kid watching this potty, I want to see a kid do it. But I'd sit at the front of the class because I was in trouble, and then I'd say my name like under my breath, like "Who's seven?" and then turn around and be like, "Fuck, who's saying my name?" And then all the kids behind me would just get like.
I remember my favorite, like, well, there were so many pranks at my school, but one that was my favorite that just stands out, like, is burned in my memory, is this kid Jackson.
Jackson.
It was like a cold morning, like a fucking frost on the grass morning. And our whole year pretty much was like gathered in like a circle in this like area. And all the chicks were there and everything. And this kid Jackson, there was this quiet kid, I can't remember his name. He was so quiet, like barely ever spoke, ever. And Jackson just like pulls his pants down, like jocks as well, in front of all the chicks, like kids. It's just like bare cock. It's so small because it's so cold. And everyone is just like pissing themselves.
That's how school shooters start out, bro. Like,
And then, yeah, someone stole Jackson's like shirt and jumper and threw it in the tree, and he couldn't get it. He was walking around in like the frost with no shirt on.
what, bro?
Fuck.
I'm trying to think, like, we had this, like, end of year thing where we go to, like, an amusement park, like, Wet and Wild kind of thing, but it was called
Oh,
Adventure World. This is
Jesus.
so
What
rogue.
year is this in?
This is year 10.
This is right.
But, like, this is actually really fucked up.
Potty.
No, this is great for a potty, but we're on the slide, and you know how you stop yourself on the slide, like,
Yeah.
going down.
Oh,
This was planned months ago.
This is like, bro,
Like,
this
was a big day
This
for
is
us.
group chats talking about how we're going to execute this, what's the best slide for it, and
So
everything.
instead of doing schoolwork and focusing on that, you guys should just make a master plan.
Dude, we were like, but the funny thing was, it was the guys who were doing really well at school as well were like a part of this group. Like, these guys are getting like 98 ATARs, but they're still just like the ones doing the prank themselves. But like, we'd go on the slide, and there was about 20 of us, and 20 of us stopped on the slide. And then we got 4 blokes at the back to shit. And so, bro, I'm not even kidding when I say this. If
Why would they commit to
Dude.
do it? Imagine like we need someone to shit, and some of the kids are just like, "I'll do it."
Dude, well, that's what it was. The guys are full.
I volunteer.
I want to be the one who shits.
So it was generally like, I'll do it. And they're
They're
like,
like
no, I'll
holding
do
their
it. Like,
shits
you
for
got in
3
trouble
days.
last week. Can I do it? And they're like, yeah, fair enough. I might get expelled if I do this. Like, and anyway, so you got blokes tracking spreadies, bro. The funniest thing is the after, because these shits are flying down and they're just chasing you down the slide. And
And
you're
we all
walking
just
back-
go into it.
And then you go down and you duck underwater at the bottom of it. And then you just like...
They're like
you just-
missiles.
You all get out of the water. There's like 20 blokes. And like, they're the ones that like calling you going, everyone get down. Like, because there's 20 blokes, like just a human meatball just fucking coming down like the stream. And then we're like looking at them. And then just next minute, just literally like a kilo of shit just comes down the thing. And then we just got out and just were like...
we ran. We just ran.
What
Oh.
did they say? What did the teachers say?
They
Like,
didn't say anything. Like, to be honest, that's actually probably not the worst shit story. Like,
They
that's
never
like...
found out.
What about when you brought my shit onto the school bus?
Oh, yeah, sure. If you want to go.
Say it. It's actually pretty fucked.
We were like, because we had school surfing, because our school was quite close to the beach.
how did the teachers not think to fucking ban you from all school
Wait till you
activities?
hear this. Like, this is just absurd. bro.
And we said something to Will, like,
Get a photo with these tourists.
yeah,
or-
get a photo with these tourists or chuck a shit in the water fountain. So he shits in the water fountain.
I don't know why I didn't
We're
get a
like-
photo with these tourists, but
We're in year 9, and then my other mate grabs the shit. Like, I don't know how he grabbed it.
he
Not with his
got
hands,
bark and he picked the shit out of the water fountain
and brings it onto the school bus.
and
the
chucks
bus-
it on the bus, bro.
The bus reeks so bad.
Like the teacher's gone like, who stepped in dog shit? Like check your shoes and everything. And I'm like, everyone's gone like, oh, it smells like human shit, doesn't it, Will? Like, Will, did you step in anything? And I'm going like, shut up, like, and yeah, there's just a human shit on the
Your
bus.
school sounds horrifying.
Yeah,
There's
no,
like a quiet kid at their school.
dude, the
We
worst
had a
thing is
mate-
my mum went and taught at the school after, and she's like, how was Will as a student? She's like, great kid on his own, but when they came together, possibly the worst year group I've
Easily
ever taught.
distracted.
So
and
the
distracted.
answer to your question, Zach, yes, they were always mischievous little cunts.
That's just the beginning. Like, we had a kid shit in a lunchbox and then went back in the kid's bag. Like,
We had a kid, he was like just a slut for peer pressure. Found a dead rat and everyone peer pressured him to eating the head off the rat. And like I've got the full video and he's like, we're like, go man, go. And he just goes, fuck. Rips the head off and just throws the thing. And he's just got a head in his mouth.
Get so fucked up from
Oh,
that.
dude, like that. Yeah, man. that's-
disease
like
central.
it was just absurd. Like this kid, like we were out in the snow on a footy trip, and he had like anger issues, and like got to the point where these guys were just giving him a bit of shit. So he just started grabbing the pool balls in the games room and just full like head hunting with these pool balls, like cross the room, just ditching pool balls, and then. He like everyone's like after he ran out of pool balls, he just fucking walked barefoot into the snow and went missing for 4.5 hours. like, bro, and he comes back and he's just you can like his feet are fucking purple and you're just like, did you just barefoot that thing the whole way? And he's just like, yeah.
Imagine if they went to boarding school with us.
Oh, mate.
You guys go boarding school?
Yeah.
Fuck,
there was
I
some
don't know.
shit that happened there, but
Involving
One of the kids found a dead possum. I don't know if he killed it or he found it. And he was in year 12, and I think I was in year 9 or year 10. And he just brought it back into the border, and everyone was like laughing. And then he just like disappeared with it. And everyone's like, where the fuck did the dead possum go? And they all went into the kitchen, like the common area where the kitchen is, and the sandwich toaster's on. And the dead possum's just in the sandwich. And he shut it down, and it's just cooking, and then he just left. So he just put it on the sandwich toaster, like,
Bro, you can't tell me if he's toasting a fucking possum, he didn't kill that possum. That's crazy. Dude,
Nah.
that's like, dude, where is that guy now?
Oh, his nickname was Slug, so that probably says a lot about
That's
him.
Nick's nickname too. Let's go.
yeah, moving on because we could just talk about school stories forever.
Yeah,
and we
yeah,
should
sure.
maybe we'll do a part 2 of this podcast because
Yeah.
this is fucking great. But yeah, who's like some inspiration prank wise, and who's like your Mount Rushmore of pranksters?
Fuck, it's probably Ross Creations,
Yeah.
Nico Milana, and like of course
Gideon?
like Gideon, yeah, but like in terms of we kind of like the more hidden camera pranks, so it's not like mostly like mic'd up walking around kind of just
Yeah.
camera in the face kind of thing. Like,
There's that like mic'd up cult they call themselves in like the US and stuff, but we don't really do that stuff. You know, like they kind of chase people's reactions of just being like, you know, like getting told to fuck off and stuff. Well, if like someone's telling us like, oh, I don't want to be filmed, we'll just kind of like stop.
we'll just leave. But like I feel like you kind of there's no point in like going to do a prank where like you're dressed up as something or like a certain character and you've just got a bloke with a camera behind you. Like,
Yeah,
are they not gonna see and go prank?
I feel like the harmless ones are often more like funny, like the one where you were buying the fucking.
Window.
No, you're buying something off that old dude, and then you're cooking the snags.
Oh, the buying a
The cooker.
Gas
cooker,
cooker.
gas
yeah,
cooker.
yeah, and like just that, like how you just kept going back to it, and it's like harmless. Like it doesn't really do anything to him, but it's
Yeah,
just like
sure.
him just standing there is funny. And like when you did the paying in like 10-cent coins,
Yeah,
on marketplace,
fucking
that's
hilarious,
fucking
bro.
that shit like makes me laugh the most out of your stuff.
That's what we always try to do with our pranks, and sometimes we like, you know, it goes the other way and it's sort of
Sometimes
uncontrollable.
I mean, it's
how
just
it
like
is.
that's just someone's not going to take it the right way.
We like to think like after the interaction, if that person leaves and is like feeling shit, then we won't do that idea. We won't do that prank. Well, we, you know, like say like the window shopping one, even though we got super riled up, like he's not really like, he's not having a bad day from that. He's just got like, you know, a good story.
It's just kind of
Yeah.
like what
Fuck, that was
with
funny.
window
That
Yeah,
first
shopping.
bloke
like-
was funny.
Oh,
as.
dude. But yeah, he's not like leaving that feeling like super shit. He's leaving it feeling like, what the fuck just happened? There's
Like
no way
he's
that's
going
real.
home and just telling like someone like
I had the craziest.
like
day.
yeah, we had this we did this prank on this guy the other week and he where Seb and I were in the same stuff, same video that we released with you guys, like the and he went to Seb's wearing the exact same clothes, Seb's selling like drugs, and then Seb goes, oh fuck, I've got the wrong guy, and then as Seb's walking off, I walk into frame and I'm like wearing the like like the headphones and shit like that. That bloke's like messaging like 4 days later, just going, holy shit, man, I just still can't believe the chances of that happening.
Just
Like I'm
bought
fully in the
into
Matrix and shit, and I'm just like crazy stuff. And then then he found out, saw the video, like because it was just such a good clip. We were just like, fuck, if we tell him, like he might kind of just go, I don't want that up there, because like it was like so. We posted it, and then he messaged us and said, like, you cheeky fuckers. Like that was like, for weeks I was generally thinking, what is life about? Like, and so like when it's harmless like that, where you just want them to go after, fuck, that was weird. Like, I don't know, that's kind of what we're.
So who are we saying on the Mount Rushmore? What do you guys think of the Nelk boys? Like,
I mean, yeah, they're pretty good. They're like
definitely an inspiration. They're kind of like they're like blueprint.
I think that my
huge as well.
personal opinion on them is that the heyday of Nelk was like the Wine Tour and the Europe stuff, and since then I haven't really watched.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely like they've just got that many other like.
I think when
ventures.
MTV Jesse and his dad left was when I was like,
Yeah.
they were. I think they were like some of the two funniest.
Oh man, like Kyle and Jesse, like the OGs of them. Like I generally think Kyle's probably one of the most like talented in terms of like holding his cool and just saying some like outrageous shit. Like of course they're just like they're great. Yeah, I'd probably be like Nelk, Nico, and like because Nico's just a crazy storyteller. Like just the way he like be out like to keep you guys like keep retention on like a video and have no one like just like kind of getting bored is pretty crazy. And then like Ross Creations, like the goat of ideas. Like,
would you have Nico in a scrap?
He's
like,
pretty tall.
2 or 1 hands?
2.
Definitely.
All right. Moving on, we've got another segment. Ben, can you lead this one?
Yes, we do. So normally, if you're new to this episode, we have a beer review each week, and normally it's Zach. He goes out and gets the beer, comes back with a crazy story, and
he needed
tells
a week
it.
off after his fucking extravagant stories the last 15 weeks.
And he's done some fucking crazy shit to get these beers. And then Liam will have a sip, give her a rating, and it'll go on the whiteboard, which we still haven't bought yet.
16 episodes in, haven't not bought one.
So I've been given the task of the beer review this week. So it's a pretty long story.
Take us away.
Righto. This story begins about 1 hour ago when I was told that I had to get this week's beer for beer review. Immediately thoughts were racing through my head, and the pressure of the much-loved segment was beginning to weigh me down like Jesus Christ when he was carrying the Holy Cross. Only this task was much more historically important. The clock was ticking. Precious minutes had flown by as I stood in the kitchen comparing myself to our Lord and Saviour and wondering if I could live up to the standard set by our own producer, Zach. My mind started to wander again. I saw similarities between Zach and Jesus' friend, Judas. Was his coincidental timing of not being able to get this week's beer all just a ploy to set me up for failure and embarrassment? Only time would tell. I looked over at Zach as he was sitting on the couch, going on about how much work he had to do. He had this dumb fucking look on his face. I tried to get a read on him, and finally it came to me. Only a true, cunning, lucrative, and insidious individual could portray himself. Could portray himself as looking like an innocent and brain-dead dork like Zach was. It was settled. I had to come up with the best beer review story that had ever graced the ears of the loyal Sunday Sessions listeners. And this is where that story begins. Wow. My first move was to call up Cal from a previous life who could get things done and get them done quick. Cal. Oh, ring, 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 ring. Cal, no time for fucking around. I need a miracle and I need it now. How much trouble you in, boss? No time to disclose. Any big races going on now? How big you looking for? Cal said. I'm coming for it all. Be ready in 5. I hung up, and a glimmer of hope washed over me like a shower of rain after a day in the mud. Maybe I could pull this off. Maybe it might work out, I thought to myself. But hope is a dangerous thing. I'd come to learn this the hard way, and I was about to be taught this lesson all over again. You see, in my state of worry and uncertainty, I seemed to have forgot that I owed Cal $25,000. Because I linked his card to my PlayStation and Uber Eats accounts during COVID. And he'd been after the money ever since. It was not until I was in the back of his car, handcuffed and gagged by him and some Irish mobsters, that I remembered this. And he was out for blood. I was fucked. Much like two cousins that are in love with each other, Cal and I's relationship was complicated. I had saved his life back in the day, But then I also slept with his wife. And then I racked up 25k in bills in his card. 2-1 his way. It wasn't looking pretty. But Cal was like family, so I knew he'd give me a chance to win it all back. And that's all I needed. You see, back in my heyday, I used to be a pretty good gambler. I used to follow a simple yet effective rule. Always keep punting. The next bet could be the one to win it all. I dabbled at all games, but my absolute favourite was trackside. The electron courses. That shit was my honey hole. It was pretty much my own personal ATM. If Cal wanted to see his money back, he knew he had to get me in front of one of those screens. What I didn't realise, however, that Cal himself was in debt to the Irish Mafia. I would be gambling with both of our lives here. The setup was simple. I had 5 turns to back a winning horse on trackside. If I didn't win, the mobster sitting behind me would put a bullet into my head and then one into Cal's, and that would be the end. No more life, and more importantly, no more beer review. I blew through the first 4 bets like a drug addict blows through his weekly pay. It was down to one last crack. I put it all on one horse. Creamy Pints was the name, and the odds were astronomical. I didn't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning, but fuck it. If I was going to go out, I was going to go out in style. It started about as well as a second-hand lawnmower on a cold winter's morning. Fucking shithouse. I heard the mobster's gun cock behind me. This was the end. I look up in the screen for one last glimpse. It couldn't be. There's no way, I think to myself. It's moved up a few spots. 400 metres to go. Again it moves up. Once more. 300 to go. Third spot. 200. I was riding Cal like a fucking donkey at this point, screaming out the TV, "Kick, you cunt! Kick!" It moved up in a second with 50 metres to go. I was whipping Cal as hard as humanly possible. They were neck and neck. This close to freedom. 20 metres left. One more scream. "Kick your dog!" When it crossed the line first, it was like I was receiving a blowjob from God herself. A feeling I'd never felt before. The greatest win of all time. I put it all on the line and won. Cal was crying on the pub floor. He was a free man. I was a free man. The Irish mobster looked slightly disappointed, but I didn't give a fuck. I had a beer to buy and a story to tell. I asked if he had anything on him, and he handed me a drink to celebrate my win. And that is today's beer.
That's incredible.
I know what it is from the name of the horse. It's a Guinness from the name of the horse. Oh,
we
baby.
fucking go. A can of Guinness.
What a story. In the last hour?
Yeah.
Wow.
That happened in the last
Huge.
hour. So.
Let's just...
Are you okay?
Oh, never better.
This is best
Wow.
enjoyed poured in a glass, but we
It's
don't have a
okay.
glass.
Oh, it's a nice crack.
Oh, that was moist.
It's creamy.
That's a well carbonated Guinness.
Fuck.
Have you guys had Guinness before?
They're terrible.
Guinness terrible.
I reckon.
I'd completely disagree. Funny story about Guinness. Me, Matt Holgate, our other friend, and Ben are a big trio. And we were kind of in search for a name. You know how every trio needs its name, like Misfit Minds or like the Sick Cunts. We didn't have one. And we went to the Skinny Dog pub in Kew. And by chance, it was St. Patrick's Day. Buy a Guinness and you get a free hat. We all bought Guinnesses, got hats, and we've been the Guinness boys ever since. So
It's pretty wholesome.
this is pretty nostalgic for me. I'm going to go in for the first sip.
Talk to us.
Oh. I'm going to need to go back in.
This, you said that your first beer back from Dry July is going to be a pint of Guinness, didn't you?
Yep. But a pint, so this doesn't count.
Yeah.
It's like
Wait, have you finished Dry July?
Huh? Nah, but this doesn't count because it's a sip. And it's once a week.
And it's work related.
And it's work related, so it doesn't count.
Kinda
You know,
does.
for the first time in Sunday Sessions beer review history, I'm quite lost for words.
Wow. That's hard to do because you love fucking speaking.
So the logo is obviously a harp, which I think is very fitting considering when you taste it and the first little creamy, brown, sugary taste hits your lips. All you can really hear, your voices, Zach's annoying yap, and your guys' voices just echo out. And all I hear is the nice, beautiful symphonies of a harp going. That's the feeling you get from the initial, like, first little mouthful. Going back in for to tell you what the body's like.
You've really set this up.
You gonna pass it around? Yeah. Selfish.
Dude, I've never had a Guinness. This will be interesting.
Oh, you've got to have one like that's poured properly.
Yeah. This
Does
is
it have that little
probably-
ball in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Bro.
I reckon it's the Rogus drink.
So that's what someone who has no idea would say. What someone with an idea would say is when you think about years and years of history and human evolution and the world and the economic evolution and the industrial revolution, and you think of the days of old and the Vikings and the quests, and you think of everything that has ever been and will be and is going to come to be, you think of a specific taste. And you think of a specific feeling that you get drinking a drink of sorts. And you think of like a handle beer glass with a brown liquid and a foam at the top, kind of like the same as a Duff beer in The Simpsons. And you look at it and you think you know what it tastes like, and it's creamy, wet, and it's a beer. And that's what this tastes like. It tastes like how far humans have come since our inception to where we are now, and the hopes of what could be in the future.
So the story of the human race, pretty much, is what you're drinking.
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but for a fucking can that's got a ball in it to help it stay carbonated, is that to help it stay carbonated?
No, so you're meant to pour them into a glass, and then it all, like, the foam, like, all settles down.
I was going to say, because that shit's flat as fuck.
Yeah.
It's the aftertaste, just rogue.
Tastes like wine a bit.
It's a little bit licoricey, a little bit black licoricey. But overall, I think Guinness is an excellent beer, and it's one that you need to force yourself to start enjoying, because initially I hated it, but now I'm kind of still hate it.
Like
but I'm going to force
when
myself.
You first start drinking coffee.
I don't particularly love it, but I am telling myself and telling out loud that I do.
You love the idea of
it's
it.
It's been around since 1759. And honestly, though, what other drink can you think of that everyone who ever has a pint will have a huge first sip because it's the culture around it? Like
With
splitting the G.
Have you heard about that?
Never.
So when you get a Guinness, you get it in a Guinness glass, and it has the Guinness logo, and the Guinness logo has Guinness and then a little like gap and then the line. And you're supposed to, when you first have the first sip of Guinness, get the like line of the beer in between the G and the line under the G.
So
and that's called
precision.
splitting the G. Yeah. It's about precision. It's about precision.
It's about drinking ability.
And yeah, it's just a good, nice little culture they have around it. So for all those reasons accounted for, I'm going to give Guinness an 8-1.
Wow. I thought you was going to be higher.
No.
Yeah,
Because, you
We're
know,
full sucking off Guinness for the past.
It
10
sounds
minutes
sexual,
for it.
splitting the G. It's like
Is that an actual thing?
I don't know, but it sounds like it could be.
Oh, yeah, no, it is.
Is it?
Yeah. But it's fucking... I thought it would be like splitting the G. That makes more sense to me.
no, it's not.
Guess
Anyway,
I-
shut up.
guess
All
I
right, so
didn't
that's what a
think
Guinness
it
is. I also really like the can. It's like black and gold, has a gold rim. And also, if you go to a pub and you see the Guinness thing, it's a big harp.
It is,
Like,
yes.
So, yeah, I think
It's
Guinness,
that golden handle.
Guinness has a good culture.
Mm.
If you go into a pub in
The Jesus
Scotland or Ireland or
Have you gone
England,
and had one?
no, I've never been to the UK. But if you go there and order one, you'd probably get instant respect from the
From the
people.
locals.
Don't you want to go to the UK with
Yeah,
these
was
guys
that a-
being tight asses or something?
Yeah, but
That
I
felt
think
like a bit of a
It
dig
did.
at these
It
guys.
did.
Yeah.
yeah, no,
We don't want
You
to
two looked at each other when he said,
Let's-
I haven't been
yeah,
to the
let's-
I
UK.
saw he swapped legs, and whenever you swap legs, you're uncomfortable.
Now that we're fucking finished with the beer review, finally, we got some fan questions for you guys. If you wouldn't mind answering.
And
them.
you guys can
Too
have
bad
that.
if you don't want to.
You can share
This
it
is
amongst
from
yourselves.
Sammy R. Favorite video to film, like which one you enjoyed making the most?
Taking Nick speed dating for sure. What the fuck was it called?
Virgin.
When Angela White spat in Nick's mouth.
Oh, yeah,
That
was a
was
favorite
really
one.
fun.
Because we really we hadn't planned that at all. We were just like, we were editing another video at the time. Like we weren't even going to go, and then we just decided to go at night and like sort of had a rough idea. But we were just like making it up as we went, and then it came together really nicely.
Is that like the video you look at and you're like, that's the best video we've ever made?
Yeah.
In terms of storytelling, for sure.
Is
Um,
Nick still in contact?
With
Angela White?
He's got a little jar next to his bed.
he
of,
never
like,
brushes his teeth,
his
so technically
spit.
yes, because the spit's still in his mouth.
Okay, I've got another question from Austin. Have you ever like gotten drunk or used illicit substances before a video to help you like with the nerves, or is that something you did like initially? Because I remember when I used to watch people doing pranks, I was like, fuck, they must get drunk before this to have the confidence. Have you ever done that?
Nah, I don't think we've ever been drunk or
in your life?
Maybe from the day before, maybe. Like, just in terms of...
Like hungover.
Just hungover. But to be honest, probably not. We haven't ever done it.
So then what are you going to do? Get drunk every single time? You need to
That's
shit
the
yourself?
thing.
If
Yeah.
I like...
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah, if I had like weed or something before a prank, bro, my anxiety would just fucking shoot through the roof. It kind of does the opposite for me. Like when I'm by myself, I much prefer it. But the going out and pranking someone, like, man, I just would be able to keep my shit together. Nick brought up the idea of doing it.
Yeah.
And then we just looked at him and said that was the dumbest idea.
I got another one from Liam Dowling.
Oh, what the hell?
Group body count between you two and Nick.
Yeah, what would it be? And we don't have to know who contributed the most, so it's kind of an innocent way of asking. Give us an in between something.
Do you guys know each other?
In between 50
You
and
probably know.
70.
Yeah, probably say that.
You need to get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
All right, you mad rooter.
This is a question from Jamie, and he says, "Wait, what? How is this worded? And we don't have to get in. And we don't have to get into if you don't want to. Oh, okay. So sorry. I just had a shit moment. We don't have to get into this if you don't want to. But Jamie wants to know, fucking selfish cunt, how do you feel about Nelk possibly stealing your idea of disabled parking and giving no credit?
Flattered.
Yeah,
Flattered?
Imitation is the best form of flattery.
Call them out.
We
Call 'em out
actually
right
are
now.
We're gonna do one tonight. You know the sad mums we've got?
Yeah.
We're gonna put a photo, us watching the video, and it's on the disabled parking video, and then we're just gonna have the sad mum in our hand and put it on Twitter and just go thinking of releasing this beer soon, and then just have the sad.
So do you
mum.
reckon they definitely did copy you?
I mean, they were saying very similar stuff. Like, it doesn't like bother us, like, but in terms of, it's just, I mean, man, it's just too much of a unique video for it.
It's shit.
Like, no one's done it
You can
before.
say it's shit. I remember when I did the Australian on Exchange videos, I was getting fucking so many people copy them. And then I was getting comments being like, you're copying this person.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, cunt, I fucking... And then back then, the requisite to get verified on TikTok was have original content that other people are imitating or whatever so that they can verify you. And I was applying for that. And I was getting like fucking 50 million views a month on TikTok of that series, and they never verified me. And then I was getting cunts say that I copied it. And it was, so it's fucked. I understand how, like, you probably feel, and it's shit.
Yeah.
They would have seen it. Like, it got 50 mil on TikTok. Those, like, the clips of us doing it.
Oh, well then...
It's like, but also like in terms of, you can't really get too mad, because if you're like gonna go out, like we just reckon it's just a playful way to just say good idea. Like the videos that get me
At
the
least
most
give
are people in the
credit,
comments
though.
going, oh my god, like whoever thought of this is a genius. That sort of shit just pisses
those
me off.
comments.
It's
See,
like-
yes.
And people are going, it's Nelk, man. Of course they thought of it.
See,
And you're
some
like, "Fuck
people,
off."
like some people credited me when they did it, and I thought that was fine. And I had people, like some people who did it and got like fucking hundreds of thousands of likes, and they would credit me, and I was like, oh, well, that's fine. That's
I mean,
fine.
yeah, I feel like you should credit it, but like if we're gonna go out and just like start all this shit saying they copied our idea and everything, it's kind of putting a stop for us in the future to do any video that's not been done.
Yeah, but I
before.
don't think it should be like that, because it's like there's always like artists and stuff who steal small people's songs, and I feel like there's a big problem with big people in industries stealing small people's things, and I just don't think there's any excuse not to give credit, even if there's a possibility of you working together. It's like there's no excuse for them not giving credit.
A bit of credit would have been nice, just because like it's so original, no one's ever done it before. And then they did it, and they kind of said the exact same.
So
stuff.
you want to fight them, is what you've just said on camera.
Yes.
All right, yeah, we need to wrap up. But thank you so much for coming on the podcast and being one of our guests.
Thank you, Shaggy.
It means a lot to us, especially Zach, even though he looks like he wants to kill himself.
What's wrong, man?
That's his happy face.
Yes, it is. I do want to kill myself.
Just fucking smile.
Just go to the UK.
Just go to the UK.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Dankeschön.
Thanks for having us.
Fuck off, Sam.
Fuck you! Fuck me. This is fucked. What the fuck do we do now? Let's just keep on going. Keep on pretending. We'll all do it. Fuck you. Fuck you. I know. Fuck you. Fuck you. I love you guys. We should start a podcast.